Hey guys, welcome to JayWalk Media. This is Matt Miller, and this entire CNN panel has an absolute meltdown when they're fact-checked about Minnesota's radical abortion laws live on air by the one Republican in the room. Check it out right here.
This thing in Minnesota, there were 8 deaths among infants who survived abortion attempts during Tim Walz's tenure as governor. It happened. They don't want to talk about the fact that it happened. But there were children.
What's the source?
First of all, let me ask you a question. Since you've deeply researched this, what were the condition of these babies when they were born? What was the participation of the family?
They tried to abort the babies, and they survived the abortion, and then they died.
And you think that families casually tossed them aside?
No, I think.
Tell me what their condition was, Scott.
Tim Walz
Could they have
casually
survived?
tossed the truth about it aside.
Was it a case of families not wanting children to suffer who were, when they were told that they are doomed?
Yes. Yeah.
That is
the reality of the case.
That seems important to me.
Here's what I will say. Keep talking about that, because when you all talk about abortion like this, it is when women and that gender gap continues to divide, not in your favor. Because women, it is disrespectful to pretend like women are making choices about abortion that is the intent to just let a baby die at 9 months. Let me finish it here. And it is dishonest for J.D. Vance to go up there and try and push that narrative. And that is what I'm saying when I said he presented well, but his policies and what he was saying was not truthful. It just wasn't. And that is why the overwhelming American people, since Roe has been overturned, you guys are not winning. You are not winning. And if you run on this issue, you will not win in November.
They're not running on this issue. They're lying on this issue. They're running on, it's up to the states, and they're running on Donald Trump's moderate position of some reasonable restrictions, rape, incest, and life of the mother, IVF support.
Can I just say something about this?
They're lying.
You are, one of your frequent go-to points is Kamala Harris said this in 2019. That's her position. Donald Trump said women should be punished if they had an abortion. Why shouldn't we hold him to that? You talk about his moderate position. His moderate position has been adopted over the course of this campaign for purposes of this campaign after he put the justices on the Supreme Court who overturned Roe, who've created a crisis for women who live in 20 states in this country.
His position is moderate, and it is in line with what I think most Americans want.
Do you believe him when he said that women should
And I think Harris and Walz have proven they cannot discuss even a single restriction that they want.
Do you believe when he said women should be punished? Do you believe him?
I don't believe, and no Republican wants women to be punished.
No, but he said it. Do you believe him when he said it?
And at the time, it was roundly criticized by other Republicans.
Did you believe him when he said it?
I can tell you what Republicans believe, which is
I'm just asking you what Trump believes.
I'm telling you what he's running on right now.
I know what he's running on right now.
Because he's running on it to win. He's not running on it because it's what he actually believes.
If I couldn't articulate a single restriction, I would attack Trump.
This is what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz believes, is that it's none of your business what women do with their body. And so stay out of our doctor's offices and stay out of our bedrooms.
Well, I guess I'll have to speak up for the babies. They're not here to speak for themselves. The Lord have mercy.
Let's check back in with Jake in D.C. Jake?
First of all, Donald Trump is very moderate when it comes to the abortion topic. All he wanted to do was to let the states decide whether or not they allow abortion. And, and he said it's a state right issue and they can decide it. The federal government's not going to decide it. I'm not going to decide it. It's up to them. That is a middle of the road, very moderate, very fair approach to this. And a lot of pro-lifers are upset with him about that. They think that he's not really carrying the pro-life banner in the way that he should be as a Republican, as somebody on the right. But Trump has kind of drew the line in the sand there and said, no, you know what? This is kind of, it's not for me to decide or for me to be a radical one way or the other on. Let them decide it. And I kind of respect him for that. I think what he's doing is he's making a choice that makes the most amount of Americans happy with the decision. People can still access abortions when they need to, where they need to, but there are states that are going to outlaw it on their own, and it's their right to do that. So if you have to drive across state lines to get an abortion, then you can go ahead and do it. I'm not thrilled with it, but I think that it's a very measured and acceptable position for him to take. Now, these Democrats on CNN are trying their hardest to paint Donald Trump as a radical anti-abortion person, and it's just not factually true. Like I said, I know a lot of conservatives that are actually not happy with Trump when it comes to this issue because he's too light on it and he's not pushing the needle in the other direction. See, I think that J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, they should have, when they talked about this last night, J.D. Vance should have asked the question, when is a person a person? And if they can't define that, right, and then of course they don't want to define that, they want to keep this very ambiguous, very murky and just unclear. They don't want to have clear definitions for anything because then they would have to adhere to the standard that they create by that. If you say, when is a person, if the response is, I don't know, or that's not for me to decide, then what you're doing by having an abortion is you're throwing a grenade into a dark room. You know, this is the way that somebody on the Daily Wire was explaining it. I thought it was very, very clever. I think it was Matt Walsh. He says, if you don't know when a person is a person precisely, then you're throwing a grenade into a dark room and hoping that there isn't somebody in there, but there might be. And just by saying that you don't know, you're acknowledging that there might be somebody in there you might kill. So I think that, the Democrats, they don't really deal in objective truths. They don't really deal in clear, practical definitions for things. They want this morally ambiguous area to operate in because then it's kind of like anything goes. And, pay attention to the language that they use when talking about this and other issues. That is their worldview. A lot of them are not very religious. They don't have a sense of moral right and wrong. They don't have a sense of clear moral standards. So when they're approaching the issue of abortion, the only thing that could really come to their mind is, don't tell women what to do. It's none of your business. Whereas it's like, yeah, we understand that. I don't want to tell women what to do. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't. But if a woman was going to kill somebody, I would tell her not to kill somebody. That's the thing. It's like in this one instance where the right and the pro-life side defines abortion as murder or as the killing or taking of a human life, that is the instance where you can tell somebody what to do and you would tell them not to do that. So, and you see how that's the conservative side of it, that's the pro-life side. It's very clear, concise definitions that 1 + 1 = 2 for us. For them, they need to keep it ambiguous. They need to keep it unclear in order for them to justify it or to continue to kind of kick the can down the road and not really needing to observe whether they're on the right or wrong side of this debate. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this clip in the comments. Do you think that this one lone Republican did a good job on CNN defending this? I don't know. I usually see this guy as kind of a clown. He's kind of like the token Republican that doesn't really drive the point home too well. But I thought he did an okay job here, pushing back and kind of exposing them to the other side, to the facts, to the reality of this issue in Minnesota particularly. So let me know what you guys thought. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time.